Studying abroad is more than just an academic experience. It's a life-changing journey. It opens the door to cultural immersion, global awareness, and deep personal growth. Whether it's learning a new language, navigating unfamiliar cities, or connecting with people from around the world, students gain invaluable skills that can be applied in instrumental ways to shape who we are. It's a chance to step outside of comfort zones, build independence, and develop an understanding of the world that goes far beyond the classroom. Sources state that studying abroad can assist in helping future job applicants stand out, and the academic benefit provides a workload of courses that are a once-in-a-lifetime experience to our education. The study abroad experience is one that stays with you long after you return home.
The number of students participating in study abroad programs in the United States has been consistently growing in size over the past 20 years. In the 2022 to 2023 school year, just over 280,000 students went and studied abroad in different countries, though majority of these students are women. A study in 2013 found that around 65% of students who study abroad are female.
Adjusting to life in a new country brings more than just excitement. It can also bring moments of confusion, discomfort, and emotional strain. Culture shock is the feeling of being overwhelmed or out of place when faced with unfamiliar customs, social cues, and day-to-day routines. And for many women, that adjustment can feel even more intense due to gender-based expectations and pressure to conform to culture-based norms. Simple things like language, food, or body language can suddenly feel overwhelming.
Next, we will be talking to Riley Stush, a senior at Rollins College who studied abroad for a semester last year. We'll be talking with her about how she dealt with culture shock and cultural differences in the countries she visited.
Studied abroad last spring semester in Rome, Italy, and while I was there I traveled to about 10 different countries, and throughout my time in Europe for about 4 months there was a variety of different cultural experiences that I had been prepared for and briefed about before I went, but there were also plenty of experiences that I did not expect to encounter while I was over there, and just ultimately had a lot of different cultural experiences depending on the country.
As initial excitement fades, homesickness often sets in. Missing family, close friends, and a sense of belonging can feel heavier for women who often carry deeper emotional ties and heightened sensitivity. These challenges don't mean something is wrong. They mean you're human, but understanding them and preparing for them is the first step towards navigating them with strength. Next is an interview with a junior student at Rollins College, Nina Caesar, who shares her accounts of feeling homesick and her experience with study abroad. Did you ever experience any homesickness?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
So what did you do when you were feeling like overwhelmed or like burdened?
I would normally call like my family or my friends that I missed, or just distract myself by doing something there that I enjoyed.
So in experiencing any aspects of homesickness, do you think that being a woman in any kind of way altered your feelings and experience with these emotions?
Honestly, maybe there were times where I just felt a little like uncomfortable, where normally I'd be like Ubering with a friend or something, and there were a few times where like I feel like being alone as a woman was more scary. Like I had an Uber driver tell me I should be carrying a knife, like weird things like that, where I feel like maybe if I wasn't a woman I would not have experienced those things.
Unfortunately, there can be problems that arise for women studying abroad, particularly based on their gender. This can include catcalling, sexual harassment, and other gender differences based on culture. These issues may arise because of cultural differences. For example, some countries see catcalling as a totally normal part of life for women and may view them as compliments, whereas Americans do not have that perspective. Another potential reason for why women studying abroad may experience gender harassment and discrimination is because of stereotypes. A lot of other countries perceive American women in a certain type of way, mainly because of media and TV shows they might watch, and this can have a negative impact on their view of American women and see them more as sex objects than just a regular student.
Most specifically, when I'm thinking about gender while I was there were a few instances where I didn't feel safe as a woman just because experiences that happened to my friends while they were there, being catcalled or unfortunately sexually assaulted. And that happened pretty early on when we were there, and everyone in our program took note of it and then took precautions to try and prevent that from happening to anyone else. So we tried not to walk alone pretty much ever, but especially at night, no matter where we were going. We used a buddy system and we traveled everywhere and things like that, really just to make sure that we were safe as best as we could be.
Cultural differences can have a profound impact on how women experience study abroad. In Japan, for example, women are often expected to dress more modestly and speak softly to align with traditional gender roles. These norms can create pressure to adapt, even if it feels unfamiliar or uncomfortable. In Costa Rica, a source explained how a study abroad program occurred, where a lot of students experienced harassment, such as catcalling behaviors that may be culturally accepted there, but can feel deeply unsettling for outsiders. For many women, trying to fit into these gendered expectations can lead to feelings of isolation, exploitation, or emotional strain. Understanding these norms ahead of time is essential to navigating them with confidence.
I traveled to Egypt while I was there, which I went with my friend who is from Morocco, and we went during Ramadan, and she told me that we should pack up differently, like dress more modestly. So that was another thing just to take note of in terms of like different cultural backgrounds, going to a different continent as well.
Next, we spoke directly with Mary Choi Robinson, who is the head director of Rollins Study Abroad programming, about specifically the programs implemented at Rollins to help prepare women for gender-based differences that may occur during the experience.
We do address sexual orientation for LGBTQIA plus folks in different countries, depending on where they're going, not just the laws, but also societal attitudes. And so, yeah, we do address those types of things.
And then are those just kind of like a conversation, or are there like just like how do you feel like you prepare like specifically women for these kind of things?
So we try and frame it in cultural context, and we include it in the information that we're delivering to the group, but then we also provide resources like CAPS is still available, or victim service advocates, on-site staff, as well as staff back at home campus, through our office. So we try and give them both, the conversation about it, and then the resources that they might need access to.
Okay, awesome.
And it's also given to them like in a program guide as well. All students, that information is also in there. Yeah.
And then do you think that there's anything that Rollins Study Abroad could do specifically better in supporting women, or is there something that like you want to implement in the future?
That's a great question. We really try, because we can only intervene so much and provide the tools and everything. One of the biggest things we do stress is to buddy up, right?
Yeah.
And to really be aware of where your drink is coming from, because, oftentimes students are of legal age in another country to drink, even if they're not of legal age here. But just making sure, like, even if it's not an alcoholic drink, like, knowing who you're getting an open drink from is really important. Yeah. I recommend students only get it from either someone they know and trust, or a bartender or a server or something like that, right? And to always try and be at least with someone else that to buddy up. I think making sure that students know to not be afraid or ashamed to go to on-site staff, whether it's through a program or whether it's a faculty leader, that they don't have to manage something on their own, and that, they should be able to feel free to get help if something does happen.
All in all, studying abroad is a great opportunity for students of all genders. The most important thing for women who are studying abroad is to be prepared, have access to helpful resources while abroad, and know what cultural differences may be in the countries they plan on attending. To conclude this video, please listen to what advice Elisa Chaudhry, who studied abroad in Spain last summer, had for future females who plan on studying abroad.
I would say just to go into it super open-minded. I think there was like a big difference in everybody's experience levels when it came to traveling. So there were like some people that had more experience being in foreign countries, and then some people who had less. And I think that as long as you go into it with an open mind and you're just open to all the experiences and everything that the program comes with, and even just like being open-minded to being uncomfortable sometimes, and maybe having a learning curve, and just knowing everything that comes with learning to live abroad, because it's more than a vacation. It's like you actually feel like you're living in that place. So I think you just need to be super open-minded is the biggest advice I would give.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for listening to our video, and we hope you all feel a little more comfortable and prepared in your future study abroad experiences.
But don't let that hold you back from really engaging in the experience, right? And what I mean by that is there's risk, like just, going downtown Orlando. But just know what it is you want out of the experience, and don't let concern or fear hold you back. Because ultimately, I've sent a lot of students abroad, and the things that have been a concern have been very small in terms of things like, assault or harassment or things like that. And I don't want students to feel afraid. I want them to feel empowered to enjoy their experience.